You are a dirt block. All other dirt blocks are part of your imagination. All other blocks and mobs are as well. The only reality is you, the dirt block. Every experience you believe you have had, as well as everything you've done, is an illusion of your mind. All the universe is a product of your imagination, and you are simply a dirt block. There is no way to disprove this concept. Conversely, there is no way to prove it either. So what are you supposed to make of this idea? It's a take on solipsism, the belief that only the self is real and everything else is imagined. In the search for certainty, one traces back what they know to be true. The idea you are a dirt block, for example, is one I just told you. It is a certain truth. What, you don't believe you are a dirt block? You think that you play as Steve, or outside of that, you think you are a person? How do you know, then, that is true? You can argue that you feel and truly experience nature, like by saying, I can break trees and run around. Dirt blocks can't break trees, nor can they run around, therefore I must not be a dirt block. Well, how do you know you actually did those things? Is it not just as valid to say that those experiences, as well as every other one, is just a convolution of the mind? All those impossibilities that come with being a dirt block are just limits made up by yourself. Dirt blocks can't think, but I think, so I can't be a dirt block, you say. Well, you just think dirt blocks can't think. How do you know that's true? Well, if I take a picture of myself, I don't see a dirt block, you might argue. But how do you know the camera isn't broken? What if every time you take a picture of yourself, you are swapped in with some other person every time? What if the picture doesn't actually exist in the first place? It's like last thursdayism. Last thursdayism states that the universe is created on Thursday and will expire on Thursday. Well, what about all my thoughts and emotions, my experiences, the things I own, or the people I know? They were all simply created last Thursday. This is the true test of solipsism, or saying you are a dirt block, or saying that the universe was created last Thursday. It is a test of what is true in the universe. It's meant to really make you think what to actually believe. And as impossible as it is to disprove solipsism, it is equally impossible to prove solipsism. As far as we know, saying you are a dirt block is just as reasonable as saying you aren't. Sort of. What we have found to typically be true, however, is that the simplest explanation is usually the best explanation. For example, saying you're building a house and suddenly you hear a hissing and an explosion behind you, damaging you. What's a more likely explanation? A creeper came up and exploded? Or a player logged in the server, used command blocks to make a cow, and would spawn a creeper that would then go behind you and explode? It should be clear to most that the most logical explanation is that of just the creeper. It's the simplest and requires the least amount of assumptions to make. This heuristic is called Occam's razor, the philosophical idea that if multiple solutions can answer a problem, the one that is the simplest is usually best. Another example of this is saying everything is caused by leprechauns. You can say that gravel fell because you broke the block below it, or you could say that the gravel fell because you broke the block below it and then an invisible leprechaun pulled down the gravel. As far as we know, both explanations are plausible, but Occam's razor shows that the leprechaun is a worse explanation because, well, you're assuming things that aren't necessary and needless. We have an explanation that works without leprechauns, so why include them? Applying Occam's razor to the dirt block idea, that you are a dirt block, we find that it requires more to assume you are a dirt block than that you aren't. You have to believe that everything is basically a lie, and assume that a dirt block has the ability to process all of your thoughts. Arguably, then, we can shave away the unnecessary assumptions of the dirt block idea with Occam's razor. Henceforth, Occam's razor can also be used to shave away the unnecessary assumptions of last thursdayism or solipsism and disprove them. Or can it? The issue with Occam's razor is that it is not a perfect guide. First of all, it can be subjective as to what an assumption is. It's subjective to say what is a simpler explanation for something. For example, one person may argue that you have to assume that all your experiences are true and not a figment of your imagination, and so that it requires less assumption to just believe that you actually are a dirt block. Whereas another person may argue that they have no reason to believe they are a dirt block in the first place, and so that requires less assumptions. In the end, when arguing between illusion and reality, Occam's razor can cut both ways. Additionally, Occam's razor is not always found to be a necessary truth. Sometimes the more complex explanation is the true one after all. Perhaps that explosion you heard was something less obvious than a creeper. How can you know for certain? In the end, there's still no clear answer in favor of reality or solipsism. It's just as easy to say that everything we experience is as it seems, as it is to say that you are a dirt block, the universe was made last Thursday, or that only you are the real thing in the universe. Then what are you supposed to get from this? Is everything real, or is it all an illusion? There's no way to know for certain. However, I propose my own wager to the situation. You might as well embrace reality as if it is real, not as a dirt block, and not that everything is simply imaginary. Yes, it is okay to contemplate your existence and wonder these things, but if it's true that everything is an illusion, then it doesn't matter what you did. But if everything is real just as we think it is, then you would want to spend that time enjoying it, wouldn't you? What I'm saying is it's better to just live life to the fullest, even if this universe isn't real. Because, true or false, living life with a positive outlook will either be meaningless or completely beneficial, but it will not be harmful. So, no, you aren't a dirt block. At least I don't think so. Sure, we may never be certain, and it may never be possible to tell, but that mystery and uncertainty keeps life all the more interesting. All in all, I think it's safer to assume that the universe is real. Probably. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't, leave a rating, and have a great day.